Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, we should be officially live on Facebook. I'm going to make sure everything's good on this end. Romeo is joining us today.
Yep, put him up here so you can see him. He has a lot to say about this.
If you are a psychic medium, healer, coach, any kind of spiritual entrepreneur, you'll definitely want to listen to this episode no matter what. That's the first thing that I want to say. And we're going to talk all about how psychic mediums and healers can get stuck in their heads. And I can definitely relate to this getting stuck in your head topic because this has happened to me over the years and I can now catch myself when it's happening.
Yeah, and that's the key is to catch yourself. It's not to never get stuck in your head because here's the thing, out of all the people we've been working with, psychic mediums and healers and coaches over the last several years, that has been the number one thing I believe that has stopped them
Yes.
in their tracks, whether it's like up leveling their business or their life or something that they really want to do. It's
Right.
because they're stuck in their heads.
Yeah. And when you get stuck in your head, it's like imagine like a deer coming across a human driving in the car and they just freeze. They freeze right there and they don't know where to turn. They can't move. They're frozen. So when you're stuck in your head, it's actually causing you not to take action because you're not getting the things out of your head onto paper, or you're just freezing up thinking, well, I'll just wait until I figure it out. And
Who's ever felt like this before?
that's a wrong way to be.
I have. I have. Everybody, right? If you've ever felt like that before, like a deer in headlights, go ahead and share with us in the comments, right?
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
Because here's the thing. It's not about like focusing on what we're doing negatively. It's about realizing that if you're a psychic, medium, healer, or coach, this is a common thing. You're not alone. And I've realized that's one of the powers of coming together with groups of like-minded people,
Right.
is recognizing the patterns that we all go through. And when we realize that we all go through them, it starts to take the edge off a little bit.
It does, and that's when breakthroughs start to happen because you're realizing, oh wow, I have that pattern too. So a lot of the things that we do when we're working with masterminders is we'll talk about a problem. Just say that someone's on the hot seat, one of the mastermind members are there. They present a problem that they're going through in their business or their life, and then we come together and each of us may give insight on this, or they start gaining insights through the questioning that Tony and I do. And from that, being an observer on the sidelines, you start to realize, oh, wow, I actually came across that problem before too. Or I haven't had that happen yet, but I could see how that could come up. And I'm glad we're dealing with this right now.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing about problems, I look at it as like math. Like you have this problem, but there's a lot of ways to get to the answer.
Right.
So that's the thing too, is like you're not only realizing that we all have these similar patterns, problems that show up, but there's a million different solutions, a million different perspectives that you could take on that problem and then transform that problem.
And
right?
It happens faster at a faster rate too
it
when you're
speeds
together.
It up, right?
That's exactly what happens. And that's why Tony and I have come together to do these workshops and these masterminds, because we found in the podcast, because we found power in our side conversations behind the scenes when we were helping each other with both of our businesses. And we thought, well, we're working with the same types of people. We're dealing with the same things with our clients. Why not come together? Because we're already creating lesson plans together and having the meetings. And that's where magic started to unfold when we got together with our clients. And everyone always says, I don't get it. Like, I've been stuck in this situation where I felt like either I wasn't getting clients or I felt alone. And then all of a sudden, when we were in the mastermind together, I've had these massive breakthroughs, and now I have more clients than I did when I wasn't doing it. And it's because when you're intentional with a group of people, we know how powerful it is to be together. Magic takes place and quantum leaps take place. And that's exactly what's needed.
Yes.
When you're stuck. You need that push to push you over the edge to get you to that quantum level.
We'll prove it to you real quick. Think about a few of the problems that you've had in your life, even if it's outside of your business, outside of all of this. Just think about some of the problems that you had in your life. And then think about, how did you solve those problems? Go back and retrace all the steps. And I guarantee you, every single time, it'll be tied to you reaching out to somebody else, reaching out for more information, coming together and sharing your problem with somebody. And then over time, you start to receive these insights, right, from the creative source, from whatever you want to call it, and then you have this epiphany moment. You're like, okay, that's it. I have to go this way now, right?
Yes.
So I want you to think about that as we're going through all these common patterns and problems that we've seen pop up over and over in our life with our clients. I want you to think about that.
Yeah, and Amanda said in the comments, hi, Amanda.
Hi,
Tony's
Amanda.
on here too.
Hi, Tony.
She said she has too. She's experienced it. So we all have had something happen. It's true, and it's funny. I was just on the phone with my friend today, taking a walk outside, and we were talking about something that she was having an issue with. And we got in conversation, and in the conversation together, it was like the space was held where it was a level of comfort, where it got her to the answer that she needed for an important thing that was really weighing on her. And it was just being together and having that support where you don't feel like you're doing it alone. And it's not even necessarily the words. Sometimes it's just giving the space to be able to speak it out. And then you're like, wait, I got my answer, you know? So I think that's what happens when you come together. And when it comes to psychic mediumship and healers, all of those issues, I'm calling them issues, are things that make you feel highly sensitive when you feel stuck. Like, for example, we were talking earlier, like in the past, I was doing readings at the very beginning, and I was putting a lot of pressure on myself and starting to overthink my readings. And I'd come home to you, and I would talk to Tony after my events, and he's like, why are you picking apart your reading or your event? Like, I thought it went great, and people said it was amazing. I'm like, well, I could have done better.
And she's like, that's what we do as humans.
Exactly. And it was just like that repetitive thought. And it's okay to reflect on things, but to beat yourself up in your head, that's when it gets to the point where it's toxic energy, where it's like over and over again, a cycle of thinking it's never good enough. Because you can always make progress, but you're not going to think that it's perfect every time, because it's never going to be perfect. It's just going to be a work in progress.
That's right. So there's a power in reflecting, but effective reflection. And as we go through this, I want you all to set the intention right now. Set the intention inside of your energy, inside of your body, at the deepest part of yourself, that you're clearing up some space right now. You're going to clear up some energy to receive some insights in this podcast right here. You're going to, usually it's one action, right? You listen to a podcast, you go to a workshop, you go to a mastermind, and then you come away with that 1 or 2 action steps that you're like, if I do this, this is going to transform a lot of different areas. So I want to set this up this way, so that way you could look for that 1 or 2 things that if I do this, wow, it's going to knock down all of these dominoes right here. So let's think about this.
Hi, Raven. Raven is on.
Hi, Raven. So let's think about this. Here's a common thing that we realize, right, Lindsay, that causes us and our clients, psychic mediums, healers, to get stuck in their head. And it's not receiving support.
Yeah.
So we're healers, we're coaches, we're psychic mediums. We're going around helping people all the time. You trace someone back into their history before they even realize they were a coach, a healer, whatever it is they call themselves now. They'll realize they've always been the one. You've always been the one to where people go to for advice, right? You got so used to that. You got so used to people coming to you and saying, hey, so-and-so, how can I get over this problem? Or they're just telling you their problems, right? They're pouring it onto you. And you became the helper. You became the healer, because that's what you are, right? Your energy is a vortex. You start to draw everybody to you. So then you got so used to just doing that over and over to where over time you started to close off your heart from receiving support from others. And I believe a lot of this is unconscious. Like, I feel like in my life, it was unconscious because I got so used to being the helper, being the one that solves problems.
That's exactly me too. In my family, I was always like that. I was always the mediator, and I was completely drained. And then I just got used to it too.
Right. So now we take that same belief, that same energy, and then we put it inside of our business as a psychic medium, healer, or coach. And all of a sudden, after a year, after 2 years, we start to feel burnt out, right? It's not working. That belief system, that energy system, it doesn't work in business, because now you're not just doing this, right, we'll call it a hobby. You're not just doing this in your life. Now this is turning into a business, right? This is turning into something to where it's helping to put food on your table. You're taking on more readings. You're taking on more energy. As an entrepreneur, you're putting yourself out there in the public eye. You are an empath. So you sense all of these other different energies coming to you, some positive, some negative, and all this overwhelm that could happen, right? So if you're somebody who you're not receiving support, and be honest with yourself right now, I want you to think about in your heart, put your hand on your heart right now and ask, say, do I receive enough support for me to do my mission, for me to do what I came here to do? Am I receiving the support that I need? And I feel like that probably 90 something percent of us, the answer will be no. Like, even when I ask myself that, I'm like, no, how else can I receive support, right?
Yeah,
I
and
think it's
there's
a question
levels
always.
to it. So, like, if you could even imagine, like, asking that question, like, putting your hand on your heart, like Tony said, and then if you were all the way down, like, by your waist and all the way above your head, if you are open to receive this much support, well, you can't see me, this much support, put it out there. But if you're not, if you're way down towards your stomach, like, use your hands, because the more that you're actually focusing in on the energy of your hands and your heart and the inner knowing and using that, it's going to stick with you. You're going to recognize, oh my God, I only use this much. That's it. Because there is an imbalance when you're not receiving.
There is.
And we just got back from the Tony Robbins seminar, and so many breakthroughs took place, but we're giving to our clients, holding masterminds. So to attend one and be a student, we're always going to be lifelong students. We got a reboot and a reset by being there.
We did. And the thing is I found over time, when we consistently do this, we consistently join, like, we're telling you all and teaching you all, we're applying it ourselves, right? We're not going to go on our podcast and share anything that we're not applying ourselves. We're not perfect at it, but we're getting better and better at it. And I will say, tell me if this resonates with any of you. Is it easier for you to go and help heal somebody compared to receiving healing yourself, right? Another way to look at that too, is it easier for you to go do a coaching session or a healing session compared to going to join a mastermind or going to a healer yourself and receiving it? For me, it's so much easier for me to give, right? Because once again, I taught myself to do this my entire life. Over the last 5 years, 10 years, I've been practicing receiving. I feel like, Lindsay, you're one of the first ones that start to tell me that, like, no, Tony, you have to receive. What's going on here? And it's taken me time, right? It's so vulnerable. I left this Tony Robbins conference and I was like, oh my Lord, my heart is so open and I feel so raw right now. I feel like everything is on the outside. That's okay. That's part of the process. And it's like a muscle too. The more that you receive, the more that you open yourself up, the more that you allow others to come in and to pour into you the way that you're pouring into other people, you start to build that as a muscle too. It gets easier and easier. So if you're somebody to where it kind of scares the hell out of you to go get a coach or go join a mastermind or go get a reading yourself or whatever it is, just understand that it gets easier each time and that we all go through this.
Yeah, definitely. And you're going to notice a difference, because it does make you feel vulnerable and raw when you're kind of diving deep in your own stuff, to focus in on that and take time for you. And then in the end, you come back stronger. And that's the important piece. And it's thinking, okay, what do I need support in? And how can I get, like, unstuck? What do I feel stuck in? What have I been putting off and thinking, oh, I can do that in 5 years? Or I have a vision that I'm going to be doing something, but I know it's not now, because I don't even know how to get there, or I need to just focus on this first. And then you put it off and you're like, wait a second, now it's the next year around. Like, the one example that I could think of is all the people that I've talked to. They know that I've been doing the psychic medium retreat over the years. It's going to be, we've done it for...
This will be the sixth one.
This is the sixth
coming up here
retreat.
In 2023.
Yeah, so in April, I've had people come to me and say, I've been wanting to do this retreat and I'm going to sign up. Or other people will say, well, I want to do it, but I have to wait till next year, because it could be anything that they're sharing. But they might say, well, I have to wait for the kids to get older, or I have to wait to make sure it's the perfect time, or I don't know how I'm going to make it work. But there's a difference between waiting and making it happen, because I find that the people that want to do it in the moment, they have that strong pull. If they don't do it, they really regret it after. And it's not just retreats. It's like, it's anything that your heart is calling you to do. And it's like, you have to get up and say, like, okay, I'm making the choice because this pain is too much to bear for me to stay in the same spot of where I'm at. And the people that break through and take a step, whether it's signing up for a retreat, or, it's starting a book, or it's hiring a coach, or whatever it is, the ones that make the step, they're like, oh my God, why did I put this off for so long? And that's a big thing to think about. What is going to change if I stay exactly where I'm at? What's going to be happening next year at this time? Or what is going to change for the better if I make the decision? Like what can I possibly lose either if I do try something out to see if it works?
Right. So go ahead and put both of your hands on your heart right now and just ask. Close your eyes and ask, what do I need right now? And this might seem funny, but just think about it. What do I need right now? And every time you ask a question, you start to get these answers, these specific answers. And we need to follow them. And that's a pattern that we notice what you were referring to is, I wrote it down right here. It's, what is it? Listening to, all right. Waiting to take action because of fear. That's it. So waiting to take action because of fear. So that's what you got to ask yourself. Am I making this decision because it's the right decision for me and my instincts telling me this? Or am I making this decision out of fear, right? And we have to ask ourselves this with every decision that we make because we have blind spots. You have blind spots. I have blind spots. Lindsay has blind spots. That's the power of coming together. How many times did you have a problem and then all of a sudden you're going through it, overthinking it, and then all of a sudden you finally share it with your friend or with your husband or your wife. And then as you're sharing it, your answer comes to you. How many times did that happen? Right? Because we have to move our energy. We have to move the river of our thoughts, right? It gets congested. And if we don't move it through teaming up with another person, we call it a mastermind, right? 2 or more people coming together creates magic, right? We're not the first ones to say this. You'll see this over and over and over again. Throughout any book that you read, throughout any mastermind you go to, it's always about the power of 2. Because as soon as you start to connect with somebody else, this third spirit, this third mind starts to come in, and then all of these creativity, these creative ideas start to pour in that Lindsay would have never had, that I would have never had unless we came together, right? Kind of like this podcast right now. There's different thoughts, different ideas that are going through your mind right now. That's the most valuable piece right here. It's not necessarily what we're saying right here. You're tuning in to your energy, to your awareness, and you're thinking about what is pouring through me right now, right? How many times have you heard someone do a speech and then you got an insight from about something that had nothing to do with the speech? I have, right?
Yeah, that's definitely, or a movie.
Or a movie or anything, right? We're always learning. So the self-awareness comes whenever we start to pay attention to what thoughts, what energies are coming over us as we're doing this. So you're thinking about, am I making this decision out of fear, or am I actually making this decision because my instinct is telling me to do this?
Yeah, that's a question.
So this reminds me of, at the beginning when I first left teaching back in 2017, that whole year, my last year teaching, I was creating an e-course. And Lindsay kept telling me over and over, she was like, Tony, put it out there now. Start marketing it out. Build your business now so you got the momentum, as you quit teaching into your business. And I was like, I'm going to create my course. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have it ready. So that way, whenever I do quit teaching, then I can just focus on that right there. And I thought at the time that was my instinct. I thought, okay, this is my instinct telling me to do this. No, it wasn't. Looking back, I was fucking scared. I was so scared out of my mind to put myself out there, and I wasn't aware enough to even see it. I had a blind spot. So I'm asking you, what are your blind spots right now? What's something that right now maybe you think that you're making the decision from your power, from your intuition, just like I did when I was teaching, but it's really not. It's really you're making it because you're fucking scared, right? It's scary out here, right? It can be. If we overthink and if we just sit and not take action, that's when it becomes very scary. Once you start to do that action and you take the steps, you start to surround yourself with other people doing it, you start to realize, oh, wait a second. Wait, Lindsay's a human too, just like I am. Like she's, like you start to realize like you're ready right now. There's nothing to wait.
Everyone's gone through different things. It's funny because we were listening to Pitbull too just the other day. I'm thinking powerful. Of him, how powerful his stuff was, how like there were certain people that didn't believe in him. And he's like, I had to put in the energy and the effort and also accepting the no's too. I think that was him that talked about that.
He is one of the ones. I feel like they all hit on that because that's part of the process, right? But he definitely talked
all
about
the
that too.
experts about like you're gonna be told no. You're gonna
Right.
have people that don't believe in you, and you're gonna be someone that may think, oh, I'll just wait later. But everyone has 24 hours in a day. And they all said that. Everyone has the same 24 hours in the day. But what are you spending your time doing? Is it being stuck in your head? Is it thinking? Or is it actually taking action? And that's the thing in the end that you're going to feel is more freeing than sitting on this feeling of knowing you need to do something, but you're not actually doing anything about it. And then you come around next year. What's today's date? Today's date is November 9th, 2022. I want you to think about this. Next year, November 9th, 2023. Do you want to be in the same place you are right now when it comes to your life and business? Share in the comments so we can see. Do you want to be in the same place? If not, what do you want to change? What is it that you want out of your life? Maybe you don't even have the answers on what you want to change, but you know what you want to feel. Share that too.
Right. So think about right now too, as you're thinking about that. Think about what is a decision that's you've been teeter-tottering on. You've been going back and forth. I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Think about that right now. What is that decision right now? What comes up in your mind? An easy way to do this, to make the decision, is which way are you gonna go? And then as you're thinking about that, is it a hell yes or is it a hell no? It can't be maybe. It's got to be a hell yes or a hell no. And then make the decision right now. Make the decision, even though those fears are going to come up, like we've been talking about, that they come up with all of us, right? These fears come up with all of us. It doesn't mean, like, being courageous is acting even though you're scared, right? You see all these people on social media. You see these people that are growing these huge businesses. You see these people that are on stages, and you look at them and you think that they're not experiencing any fear, any being scared, feeling like maybe they're not ready. No, they feel all the same stuff as you feel. They just don't sit there. They just keep moving anyways. Exactly.
And this is the thing. I was going to say something when you just said that and I lost it. This is live, so we can't edit it. What was I going to say when you were talking?
Edit, chop.
But what I was going to say is there's so many excuses that you could make. Like, there's so many excuses that you could make about your life, and so many excuses you could make about your mission, thinking, well, they can do it. It's easy for them because, they're husband and wife and they have each other, so they're going to make it happen. Or it's so easy for them because, they were teachers, so they can make a course. There's so many things that you can say to kind of negate the fact that you're not taking action, but you really have to take the action in order to get the result. Because if you don't, you're going to start to be resentful. You're going to be resentful to people around you, and you're going to be feeling resentful of your own decisions too. You're going to start not liking this yourself. You're not going to feel confident because you're not even taking actions and doing the habits to make you feel confident. You're not going to feel confident until you actually take the actions. That's how you get to the confidence. You can't just feel confident first. It comes with the habits that you're taking, the habits that you're carrying out. And that's the thing that I didn't get before. I was like, okay, I want to feel confident. Like, I want to feel that now.
Right. But if I wasn't feel that before I go and do this big thing.
Yeah, before I create the course, I got to feel confident. I got to have the perfect setup with lights. I got to have this way. But I had to just push it to the side and do it. Do it before I was ready. Marie Forleo always says, start before you're ready. And that's exactly how it needs to be done. Confidence is a result of taking action. You can't have confidence without going and experimenting and taking action, which leads us to another thing that causes us to get in our head, right? Psychic mediums, healers, coaches, is we go to create something. We create an e-course. We create a book. We create a workshop. It could be a post. We create a post. We create something, and then we start to get in our head and overthink it. How many of you have done this? I have. I've definitely done this a lot of times. It reminds me when, actually going back to when I first, back in 2017 when I was leaving teaching, and I created this e-course, and I was like, I'm gonna sell e-courses, and I'm gonna do group coaching, and then I'm gonna speak on stages. I'm gonna do one-on-one coaching too, and then I'm gonna do some healing on people, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that. And I had all these ideas, and I still do, right? I could see, right, what you being intuitive.
you tuning into your soul, you start to see your future, right? You start to see where you're going. And sometimes we could see like 10, 20, 30 years in the future, and we think that we have to do it all right now, right? And then we start to overthink it. Then we start to forget actually what we should be working on right now.
Yeah.
So like what you saw just right now with what I was saying, that's what I was experiencing with, should I do the e-course? Should I coach? Should I do, every single day I was in my head. And the only way I got out of my head over these last 5 years was I did the e-course. I did group coaching. I did retreats. We started to do masterminds. I started to do one-on-one coaching. I started to put this stuff into practice. And then I started to find out what my wheelhouse is right now. I started to find out what I should, in my heart and soul, what I felt I should be focusing on right now. Yeah, I'll get to the books. Yeah, I'll get to the speaking. Yeah, I'll get to a lot of other things. I had to slow down my life so I could speed up. And that's exactly what happens is overthinking comes whenever we're trying to make things happen in our head, right? We heard the law of attraction, The Secret, and then, sometimes we take it as we just think about it in our head, and then that's what makes it happen. It's like, no, it's like that's part of it, but we have to move that energy to have that clarity, right? And we have to experiment. We have to put some things into action.
Yes, that's what it's about. It's actually taking the action and moving forward. Anything else that we wrote down before we do want to share something with you before we go too?
So another thing is listening to unqualified people.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. That's
right,
a huge
about
one.
your business, especially you being in the businesses you're in. The average person is not going to understand it. I know this from experience. When I was a teacher, everybody would be like, what do you do? Oh, I'm a public school teacher, and I got praised for that. People understand that, right? Because they have kids that go to schools. Now, people ask, if I say I'm a coach, if I say I'm a healer, if I say I'm, I run retreats, they don't understand as much, right? So you're misunderstood a lot.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
And you're judged.
And you're judged. You're not only misunderstood.
Teachers aren't judged normally.
Oh, they're judged.
They're praised.
But they're like,
not
whoa,
in the same way.
We love you. You're a god. Oh, it must take a special person to do that.
Yeah, they're more praised.
Shit, it takes more of a special person to start your own business and to do this than it does teaching was easy. I just showed up. The students were there. I was in my own classroom. I got to lead my own classroom. Like, we didn't have any cameras watching. None of that stuff. I didn't have to market for it. I didn't have to put myself out in the public, right? It was we should. Yeah, it's you. I'm gonna sit here and praise you all right now. All of you that are doing your psychic medium business and you're taking action in your healing business, and as a coach, I want to give you a round of applause. And you're being visible, and you're putting your energy and your heart and your soul on the line for your mission. That's vulnerability, right? This is not easy stuff, right? It gets easier as you start to get the support you need. As you start to start to move the energy and you start to build your experience, right? You start to create this foundation inside of you that's unshakable. But it doesn't start that way.
No. And you definitely can't listen to people that aren't doing it, because if you try to listen to them, they could be there for you a little bit, but it's not the same energetic support when you're talking to people that are doing it. They're either your peers and you're gathering together in groups, or they're mentors that have gone through it. But you don't want to listen to people that are friends or family that are trying to give you advice on a business that they know nothing about. So it's not anything against them. It's actually for you, so that you don't waste your time and energy focusing in on things that don't make sense. Like, for example, can you move that curtain thing? Just
move what?
The curtain, so it's away from that light.
Oh.
So one of the things that I keep thinking about is, like, when we were starting our Airbnb, and the Airbnb, we had so many pieces of advice. So many. Like, we heard some people say, well, why don't you get the furniture at a consignment shop and not put in a lot of money? Why don't you do it, this way? And people were just trying to help.
Even the first cleaners we had.
Oh, God.
She was like, we have a great cleaner now. She does a lot for us. And the first one was like trying to, because she owned other Airbnbs. And I feel like she was trying to intentionally damage our business in a way. So be careful who you listen to. You don't know where people's intentions are.
Right.
She's trying to tell us to go buy dollar store plates and to go do all this stuff, which, whatever. If someone wants to do that, you could do that. Like, we didn't want to do that. It was obvious to her. We told her what we wanted, and it was like she's trying to convince us.
Yeah.
So it's like, you'll get all these people around you that are doing that, right?
But you have to stay strong in what your what feels right energetically. Yes. If something energetically is off, trust that feeling. But yeah, they were telling us about furniture, and we're like, no, we want to get nice furniture because we're going to be intentional about this space. We want it to feel like a space that we would go to as an Airbnb. We're going to be staying there too for our house. But we wanted it to be quality things because people would take care of it. But you do have other people's opinion. They might want to try to help you, certain people. But if they've never done it before, why would you listen to them?
It's all well intended, but yeah.
It's like listening to someone that's telling you about a car problem that has never owned a car. They own a bike, and they're telling you how to fix your car.
But that knows nothing about cars. That would be me. Don't listen to me about cars.
Or you're asking a nurse about how to fix your car like she's a mechanic. Like, you just don't do it. So when it comes to your business, really think about this, that your mission is so valuable. It's a business / it's your mission. It's your baby. So you need to make sure that you really are intentional about the people that you're talking to about your business with, and that you're listening to also.
Right. So you heard that before, like, protect your dreams, right? They're sacred, right? You don't want to just go around sharing them with just anybody, I don't believe, because it's a sacred experience, right? I'm not going to sit here and you're going to get different energy from people. So if I go share some of my dreams with certain people, they might think I'm bragging, right? Or they might think that whatever, put some negative energy into it, whatever it is. So like, I'm very careful with who I share my energy with. And I'm also very careful with who I talk about my business with, right? Like, a lot of people in my life, I don't want to talk about my business with because that's not what we do. I have friends that we'll go watch football together and do things like that. I don't want to sit there and, verbal diarrhea out of my mouth talking about my business to them, unless it's authentic, unless like it's relevant to what we're talking about, right? And it's flowing, right? That could happen too, but you guys get the point. Certain people, it's good to talk about your business with. Certain people, it could actually be detrimental to your business because we're always being primed. We're always getting energy put into us by the people that we're around. And when
especially if you're at the beginning of your business too.
And even if you're not at the beginning, I feel like it's like, even more so.
Because you're
more
you're more vulnerable. Like maybe
you're more
not
sensitive.
Sure of certain things, and you're getting feedback, and you're like, oh, I don't know what I believe right now. Like, that could be hard at the beginning.
That's the thing. And Jim Rohn, all the master teachers of all time, they always said, stand guard at the door of your mind, right? And they say that for a reason, because everything that is around you that comes into your mind, it's impacting you. Even if you think, nope, I'm spiritually awakened, that shit ain't gonna fuck with me, hell no, I'm good. No, I thought that too for so many years. And then I started to realize everything impacts you.
Yeah. Words are powerful. Language is powerful. Everything's communicating with you.
Okay. And then another thing we wrote down is overthinking your reading and services. So like, you go and do a reading, and then after it, I don't think we covered that yet.
Yeah, we did at the beginning.
Oh, did we?
I shared it earlier.
Okay.
About how like I would overthink my group events, and then it would just be negative cycle of thoughts.
Right. Or you go do a coaching call and you're like, wait, oh man, I didn't do that good enough. I didn't do that good enough. I didn't do that good enough. And you start stacking all these negative experiences, and then you start to turn a great coaching call, a great reading, into something that's bad. You start to feel bad about it.
People will give you compliments, and sometimes I remember not even be able to accept the compliment when they said, oh my God, that was an amazing reading. I'm like, oh, I could have said this. I could have got a name in here. And it's like, wait, you have to like work on that and accept the fact that people are giving you a compliment, and understand that you can receive that too. That goes along with the receiving.
Yeah, it does. So I want you to think about this. Out of everything we talked about this entire time, it's all powerful, right? There's powerful information here. The most powerful part is thinking about what insights ran over you. Like, what epiphanies or what thoughts in your mind when you're like, whoa, I don't know what just happened, but that came to my mind and I have to do that. So think about your insight and think about what's the next tiniest action that you're going to take to make that insight happen. And you could go ahead and write them in the comments if you feel pulled to.
And last thing, this is very important before you get off. We are excited. And I want to tell you this. I'm talking to you like I would be talking to myself if I was a psychic medium, healer, business entrepreneur that's into spiritual entrepreneurship. You definitely want to be in our workshop. Our workshop is tomorrow. We have a packed workshop. It's 2 hours. It's specifically for business owners that are spiritual entrepreneurs. So if you're a coach, you're a psychic medium or healer, if you're wondering what it's like to experience our mastermind, it's 2 hours instead of the 90 days. I have like a tickle in my throat, so you might have to take over.
Yeah, so that's what it is. This is like a sample. Like, you ever go in the malls and they're like, Chicken California, you want to sample Chicken California at, what's that place called? It's the Philly cheesesteak. But either way, this is like a sample. And we wanted to do this because...
Charlie's Steakhouse.
Charlie's?
Or
Yeah,
no,
Charlie's Steakery. Yeah, so like, in our mastermind business, all of our offers are thousands of dollars to work with us, right? Tomorrow, it's only $97. It's a 1-2 hour class, and it's a chance for you to grow your business, to grow yourself, to dig deep inside of your soul, and to have some clarity. And at the end of it, you will have some action steps that you can take that are going to up-level your business and life. I can guarantee you that. And this is your chance. If you ever wanted to work with us and you wanted to see what it's like to work with us, tomorrow's your chance. We don't do these pop-up shops, every week.
This is the first time we've done it.
This is the first time we've ever done it. Next year, if I had to guess, we'll probably do a handful at the most, right?
Yeah.
If that. We might even do just like 1 or 2. We don't know. It's just one of those things we were pulled to do.
We're testing it out. We just got the nudge that this is happening.
Right. So we're not even sure if we're going to keep doing this more.
But this is going to be an intimate group. This is a small group. This is not like a lot of people, so we can go deep with you, too.
So we do have our 90-day mastermind coming up in January 2023. We have another one that starts in May 2023. So for those of you that are interested in that too, you could go ahead and send us an inbox. But if you're ready right now to experience a little taste of that, tomorrow night at 4 p.m. Eastern is when we're going to do that.
Yeah, we're going to be on Zoom. So you're all going to have a chance to talk. We talked about like hot seats earlier on this call, on this podcast episode. You're going to have a chance to be in the hot seat, share what you're going through right now. You could be working on your mission with your spiritual business and you're like, I'm stuck with this situation. I need help. And we're going to have all the attention on you during that time period and work with you. That's just one section of the 2 hours that we're going to be doing together.
Where you could get specific, practical advice on the spot.
So, and be with a group of people that are like-minded, have the same heart-centered intention, and are experiencing the same thing.
And you get to see this beautiful lady right here.
Thank you. And this handsome guy too. But we have fun together. We have a lot of fun, and there's a lot of breakthroughs, and it's something that it's hard to put into words. You have to experience it for yourself. So if you feel guided, you feel like your heart is guiding you, we would love to have you there. Like Tony says, it's either a...
hell yes or hell no, right? If you're more towards the hell no, don't sign up for it. But if you know in your heart and your soul it's a hell yes, don't miss this opportunity. Literally, don't miss this opportunity.
We'll put the links in the comments, guys. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you all. We've had a great time. I felt your energy on this call here, so we really appreciated it. And for all of you that are listening to the replay or on our podcast, we appreciate you all too.
Yes. Talk to you guys soon. See some of you tomorrow night. Bye.